Welcome to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sports.
Welcome to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sport. And of course, we are here to discuss F1. And I have some great company to go through the episode. And we are here with Rob from F1 Fantasy Hub. Welcome, Rob. Thanks for coming through.
Hey, Jared. How are you, mate? Good to see you as always.
I'm great, man. We were supposed to link up a few episodes ago, but glad to see you, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. Life's getting in the way as it usually does. But 2 races to go, mate. And when I've got a free Thursday evening, I know where I want to be. So having a good time. You keeping well?
I'm keeping very well. Very well. The only thing is, I don't know. I just, Mercedes so disgusting and so annoying. When saying that, big up Mike. I just joking, just harassing Michael. Michael, welcome to the show, Michael. How are you going? Hey, and us, Michael. All right, Michael. Hey, so Rob, I have a quick question for you before we go into things. If you had to explain to someone that never watched F1 before, right? Michael, no, hear us? We have a bit
I am good.
Bro. Right, now hearing you. Good. Yeah, Rob, if you had to explain to someone that never watched F1 in their entire life this weekend, what is a sprint weekend? What is meant by sprint weekend?
Right, sprint weekend. It's one of the most exciting parts of an F1 weekend, the actual race itself on the Saturday. But the sprint race, I believe, was only introduced last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. As a trial as a short form of a race to create a bit more intensity, a bit more entertainment. A short form of the full complete race on the Sunday, where there are points on offer for the top 8, I believe it is. Acting as almost like a qualifying session within itself for the race on Sunday, but was introduced as a tool to maybe bring more casual fans into the sport, where you're not spending a full 2 hours glued to your screen. It might only be 45, 60 minutes of racing. And given how much higher the stakes are compared to a standard qualifying where there are points on offer, also means that drivers are going to push themselves a bit more, and there's probably a bit more entertainment for the viewers. So it is a condensed format of the Sunday race. I would compare it for cricket fans out there to like a T20,
right?
T20 format up against, say, a one-day or a test match. So yeah, I think it's exciting, and it adds a bit more variety to a sport as well, like F1.
Did you see Verstappen's comments on sprint racing? He was saying, because I think next year they're adding a few more sprints. They have plans or intentions. They add a few more sprints to the calendar. And he was saying it's not really racing. It shouldn't be in. Yeah. But you, as a fan, you enjoy the sprints?
I do. I think there's a lot of value for the sprint race. And kind of to my point earlier, it adds a bit more variety to your race weekend. Practice, to me, is outside of the fantasy perspective a non-factor for me. I didn't really watch a great deal of practice before I started playing F1 fantasy a couple of seasons ago. So qualifying and the race, it just adds that extra day of intensity, and I think it really draws in a crowd on the Saturday that wouldn't really be there otherwise, or that you'd really not getting quite as much. So I think it's good for the sport. I just worry that if they introduce more than 3 or 4 a season, it probably dilutes the importance and the significance of a sprint race. But again, I don't really have any complaints with the current format.
All right, solid. I don't know, Michael, you there with us?
Yeah, I'm right here, bro.
Right, nice. So, what's your quick thoughts on the sprint? You enjoy the sprint weekends? Fan or not a fan?
I think as a Formula One purist, in the earlys, I was like, I don't know about this, but it's grown on me. It adds, as Rob said, that excitement to the sport, and at the end of the day, we need to bring more people into the sport to keep it alive. So I think his phrase, calling it the T20 of Formula One, is the perfect description, because the whole way T20 was developed was to make people more interested in the sport of cricket. That they found it too boring with these long formats and such, and the T20 just like raised the excitement for everybody, and I think that goal was successfully accomplished. So yeah, I think that's the perfect description to use for what a sprint is, the T20 of Formula One. I enjoy it because it adds a lot of push. It really gives the drivers that kind of, okay, all gloves come off kind of feel. They're not required to make pit stops, so they can just go and go and go. And yes, I think all in all, I really enjoy and like the sprint weekends.
All right. Before we go any a bit further into it, Rob, of course, we don't get to see much of you. What's your thoughts on the whole season so far? So, of course, Max is the overall winner. Well deserved, have to say, well deserved. He has put in the work. But any other drivers that impressed you, or maybe some that underwhelmed you for the season so far?
Yeah, I think it's been a bit of an interesting season. It reminds me a lot of the mid 2010s, where there was just a dominance by Mercedes that was unmatched. And Red Bull has certainly demonstrated that this year. I don't think it was, in my mind, a doubt that they were going to not take it out. But it's been an interesting kind of unfolding of the season. There's been Ferrari that, I think looked really good early on. They've fallen away a bit. And the last few races, Mercedes has really come up, recovered, a lot of lost ground. Hamilton's looking a lot more like his old self with a few more upgrades. And I really think he's in with a good shot of winning this race at Brazil, just because of his record there. And then I guess there's been a few other drivers. Bottas started the season quite strongly at Alfa Romeo. He tailed off a little bit. And then you're seeing drivers like Lando come through, who, as I've emphasized a little bit on my Twitter page, that he's had a habit of finishing seasons very strongly over the last few years. I think he's now 6 races in a row with points, and he had 10 in a row last year to finish out 2021. So I certainly see him trying to lift that McLaren into 4th spot in the constructors, but anything can happen. 2 races to go, and with a sprint still in the picture as well, that certainly leaves a lot on the table for a lot of teams fighting it out in the midfield.
Yeah, the midfield battle has been amazing, and I'm sorry to burst about, but Alpine is going to get that extra spot there, that 4th spot in constructor, right? Nothing from McLaren, right? Alpine is letting you know right now. Alpine getting that spot. Right? I need Alpine to get that spot.
You do.
Alpine have been doing really, really well, and I'm proud of them. I like Ocon. Ocon is my favorite driver, so I'm really, and I must say he has been doing well. But as you rightfully said, some of the midfield battles have been a little more exciting than the actual overall, because I think it's more. I mean, I don't mind someone dominating. I really don't mind, especially if it's well deserved. But it's not to say he was dominating from race 1. It was, Ferrari fumbled the bag a little bit and then he took over. Right, Michael, you agree with that? Yeah. Anybody that surprised you, underwhelmed you, or you're pleased? I mean, I know, of course, as a Mercedes fan, but they picked up recently and doing well.
Yeah. I think it just goes to show the resilience of the team, which to me as a fan of the team is I guess uplifting, is the word I'll use. That okay, cool, yeah, we don't always need to be dominant, to show that we have fight. So it's nice that they're fighting back to get back something. Toto said that if it is they could nip Ferrari to 2nd place in the constructors, that for them would be a win, because of where they started with the car. And I think that's a great way to look at it, because we started off in all honesty probably with the 4th fastest car on the grid. and we slowly built back to whereby we could actually be fighting with the Ferraris and the Red Bulls to some extent on certain tracks. So I'm just really proud of the team to where they've reached back. Um, People who surprised me, I Guanijo. His performances as a rookie, first time out on the tracks, that kind of thing, really impressive. I mean, he's had a massive crash, probably been bigger than Lando so far. So if it is, that's one of the things you have to do as a Formula One driver. He could check that off his list. So he's done really well. So he's definitely impressed me. Who's disappointed me a lot, to be honest, is Mick Schumacher. I guess we wanted and expected a little bit more from him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we need to consider the amount of pressure he has on his shoulders,
Correct.
as well as he is a very young driver, still learning and such. And then two, this is his second year in Formula One. He would have gone from driving a very different car. So I guess even getting to grips with it to some extent could have played a part in his mishaps. Because right now he's more or less good. He has a understanding and control of the car, so I don't want to see him go. I think for him, something like a supporting role in 2023, if he doesn't get a seat, is beneficial to him. That he could just get some time to develop, focus on himself, so that when he does jump back into a car, he is a beast to be reckoned with. Disappointments again, Valtteri Bottas. I guess I was expecting a little bit more, but at the same time, he's an alpha. And then K-Mag to come out of quote-unquote retirement and then just blitz the field in the first few races in a Haas. A Haas.
Yeah.
It shows that, he might be old, but he still has it. So that was pretty impressive and enjoyable. But I think that's it for me for my season. The highlights so far, it's been pretty good. It's been a very dominant Max Verstappen. I mean, we can't neglect the failures of Ferrari, and we have to call it for what it is, as a failure. But I think all in all, it's a learning season for everybody on the grid. And as a fan, I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the last couple of races as well as for next year.
Yeah, sure. Well, all right. Well, let's talk about this weekend. Let's get straight into it. So, of course, it's a sprint weekend. So it's not my usual speech where I'm going to tell you Friday, Saturday. Friday, the action starts immediately because we have a practice on the Friday, and then we have a sprint, right? So we have the qualifying. We have the practice at 11:30, then 3 o'clock our time. We have the qualifying, practice 2 on the Saturday, then we have a sprint. Now, how it works, please correct me, gentlemen, if I'm talking nonsense. The qualifying is for the sprint, and then the sprint is a kind of qualifier for the race. So how you finish in the sprint, how you're going to start the race, correct?
Correct.
Right? And
That's right.
the beauty about this weekend for the fantasy enthusiasts, the beauty about this weekend is that we can you can get a lot more points, some extra points. It's almost like I want to say like a double game week in one, right, Rob? I don't know if that's a good analogy. Almost like a double game week because you're getting some extra points as well. So this is the right time to use your Mega Driver. Just saying, don't have to, but it's a brilliant time to use it because you're gonna get some extra points. All right. Can you just give us a quick track breakdown there, Michael, and then let me bring it up, and then we'll get into the that aspect of things. Right, of course, we have the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, right? That's the name of our track in Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil. All right, Mike. Oh, sorry. All right. Yeah, Michael, take it away.
Yeah, switch back there. Right, vibes. So, one thing we need to establish about the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace is elevation changes. This is not a normal track. It is not like Silverstone where we're flat on the ground, going around. It has elevation changes. So we start off, let's go, and we're going down the main street into turn 1, and into turn 1, it's a dip. So you're going left-handed down. So imagine you're driving in your normal road car and you go down a hill and you feel a sink in your stomach. Imagine going 100 and something key, going left-handed down a hill. That's the kind of thing these drivers are feeling, and they go instantly out of that left-hand into turn 1, into a right-hand into turn 2.
Not to cut you, but this is counterclockwise. This race is not going.
Yeah,
So
it's
the
counterclockwise.
track
Yeah,
is counterclockwise. Okay.
yeah.
Right, sweet.
So this one will be a lot heavy on the right side tires, is where we'll tend to drop off first. But yeah, so we go left-handed down into turn 1, downhill, quick right into 2. You might have a slight bit of braking or lifting into turn 2 to get a proper exit into 3, because if it is you compromise 2, you're going to have 3, and you really want to get a good exit on 3 because it's a long straight into 4, which is a very big major overtaking point. This is where Lewis would have done a good bit of his overtaking last year as he dominated the race. This is where he passed Max as well, because that straight is beautiful. So you could really line it. So a guy planning a move for turn 4 might start his preparation for that overtake from turn 1, meaning the same lines that he takes. So he might dummy somebody into taking a defensive line into 1, which will compromise them in 2 and 3. And they will get a better drive through 1, 2, 3, which will then prep them to either get DRS down that straight into turn 4, or to just have a beautiful slipstream into 4 and just go up the inside or on the outside in some cases. But
so what you're
essentially,
saying
it's
is if someone.
Hello?
Sorry about that. Yeah, all right. Sorry. You hear me good? I don't know what went on.
Yeah.
Glitches in the matrix. But yeah, so if Rob tries to use DRS and passes me in 1, I could be a little patient and catch him back on the DRS in 4. Hit him some, try and catch him and overtake him in 4.
Correct.
And so there's some nice battle.
You have to remember where the detection zone is. Correct. But you have to watch where the detection zone is. So the detection zone, I mean, we'll get to there, but it may not work out like that based on where the detection zone is.
Fair enough.
We go into 4, which is a nice left-hander, and it's long, going around to 5. 5 is pretty quick, straight into 6, which is near. This is where we start to go, because we took that downhill in 1, downhill in 2, and then we start to level off in 3, flat into 4. 4 goes slightly downhill, 4 into 5, and then from 6 we rise up. So 6, 7 is that right hand there going up. It's not too severe that you can't see too much in front of you, but you feel it going up. Same for 8, 9. 9 is a very nice corner because you're gonna be slowing down, but not very slow. So this is a fairly quick track whereby the guys are gonna be averaging, I would say, maybe around 150, 120 throughout the duration of that. Then so we're going into 10. That slight kink you see between 9 and 10 counters are going to be.
You're breaking up a little bit there, Mikey. Yeah, break. All right, go on. All right, we lost him a little bit there. She will come back with us. But what I did read up on and research on the track, it is normally a 2-stopper, right? So according to last time, and 12 out of the 20 races so far, we've had safety cars as well. So there's a serious chance or high chance of some safety car involvement. I think last race, Rob, Mercedes was wishing they had a real safety car instead of that virtual safety car. I think that would have probably helped Lewis pip that spot and win last in Mexico. So
yeah, definitely agree. I think as well last year he had an excellent showing in the sprint and on the Sunday as well. I don't think he's by any means out of the picture, and as I said earlier, he's got as good a chance as any to take the top step in Brazil. So I do think this track suits his strengths as a driver. I'm not sure if the car itself is where he'd like it to be, but it's certainly come along in leaps and bounds, certainly in the last few races. And after seeing what he did last year on the Saturday to come all the way back from 20th, I think then he started, I think he came in at 5th or 6th in the sprint qualifying, then took another ICE penalty, started from 10th on the Sunday, and then took it all out. So, Lewis has the pedigree, as we all know, and, you give him half a chance. And I definitely think he's in the mix to win on the Sunday if he replicates that performance of last year to this weekend.
Yeah. And Michael, you back with us? I hear who else. Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah, I know he says Wi-Fi giving him some issues this evening. Yeah, Wi-Fi giving him some issues. Now, the most important thing to discuss as well too, Rob, is the weather. Because some of our races have been affected by weather. And of course, I've never been to Brazil, but for those who, like to travel and pay attention to things, Brazil is that kind of place where hot sun for 5 minutes and then bam, it just rain all of a sudden, right? That tends to happen. So, especially with places in that Amazon area, that part of South America. So Friday, they're saying that it's looking like it's going to be a cloudy day. There's some expected showers in the afternoon. And so there's a 40% chance of rain on Friday. Saturday, again, looking cloudy with a chance of rain and thunderstorms in the afternoon going into the evening, 60% chance of rain. Sunday, all right, there's it looks like it should be okay. So the showers might be early in the day, but they're saying it's 60% chance of rain on the Sunday. So again, if the weather, if the predictions stick to this and there is bad weather, I think Lewis might have the edge. You never know. And as we know, sprints you normally always start on softs, right? You start on soft, but of course, barring if there's rain, well then you'll have no choice to switch up. So we will
remember with a sprint, there's no requirement to stop, so they might actually go mediums for the entirety of the sprint. Something the teams are going to be doing on Friday with the one free practice session that they have,
right,
is trying to figure out what the deck is like. Because remember, it's new cars, new tires, so although it's a track that they know, everything else is different, the cars, the tires, etc. So they're going to be trying to do as many runs as possible to try and gather data to know, okay, cool, the deck here because of the tires on the cars is crazy high. So they might actually decide to start on mediums to go for the entire thing. Or they might do hards for the entire thing and start and just, suffer in the first few laps of the tires to heat up and then run properly. Or they might go super aggressive and go soft and then try and see if they can duck in for a pit stop. So yeah, that's gonna make the sprint, in my opinion, really, really exciting.
Yeah.
I think the rain as well. If there's rain throughout the weekend, that'll just completely change the strategy for every team. And I can't remember where I heard this during the week, but even 5 minutes of rain, on the Sunday would really make the race very interesting for all the teams, particularly that midfield battle, which is still so open at the moment.
Yeah.
We've seen drivers like Stroll drive excellently and pull off some really incredible strategies in the last couple of years with the rain. And then we know what Max and Lewis are like in the wet weather. So it would make the weekend certainly a lot more entertaining and thrilling if there's a bit of weather in the mix that, really changes things up.
Yeah. But not enough rain that it delays it by 4 or 5 hours. So yeah.
No, thanks.
Can't have Japan again. But as you said, Stroll, as you can see, last week, Rob, you know me, I go against I turbo drive Stroll and he gave me a solid 16 points. So I'm very pleased with that. You know me, Rob. I like to turbo drive someone, a bit different.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Yeah, last week wasn't too hot. It was 99, 133, and 144. But my turbo drivers did me proud. They got green numbers. Once the number is green, Rob, I am not upset. I am not upset once the numbers are green. So 60 from Sainz, 16 from Stroll, and a solid 2 from K-Mag, taking that. Right? I'm taking that because it could have been worse. It could have been like that. I could have turbo drive Sonoda and it could have been trouble. Right? Right. So I'm happy. I'm happy with this. The constructors. Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with a Red Bull constructor, of course. Right now with the form that they are in. I'm pushing the Aston Martin because I want Vettel, just in case Vettel, does something magical for the last two races. You never know. Maybe we can get some benefit there. But something I wanted to talk to you guys about. Something I noticed this season that has not happened last season, unless you all are gonna say, well, yes, Charles. To me, someone strange has not came first or won one of the races. Now, correct me, am I talking as I can't remember any. When I say strange, like outside of the norm, right? As because when you look back at some of the other races, you all can say, but no, Gasly won this one, or Norris came in, or Vettel, but I'm not seeing anyone from the mid this season. At least now, Russell would have been the only outsider, and Norris that got podiums. But in terms of winning one of the GPs, yeah, am I wrong? Am I wrong? I'm missing anybody? Let me know if somebody have to get their flowers.
No.
But this season, I didn't notice
Nah.
that. Yeah, am
The
I right?
only winners of races this season has been the two Ferrari drivers, the two Red Bull guys. Other than that, nobody else has won.
Yeah, we had no surprises like for the past races. Even if was Mercedes were dominating for the past few, you always had someone coming in with a win here, a win there, that kind of thing. There was none of that this season. It was purely dominated by, as you rightfully said, the two fastest constructors, Ferrari and Red Bull. All right. So Rob, what's the strategy and game plan going into, of course, Mega Drive, but break it down first. What's the big plan and strategy for this weekend?
I think if you haven't used your Mega Driver, you've either saved it or you've probably lost interest in the game. I think this is one of the two best races in the second half of the season to use the Mega Driver, the other being Japan when Max was on his race streak. I think he's a no-brainer for activating it this week. I think the question is for those people who have already used the Mega Driver, whether they want to go with a squad with or without Max Verstappen. I think I'll be in the ball camp, the camp of the non-Max, and build my team out a little bit more balanced. But I think he's an absolute necessity to have if you haven't already activated it. And then the decision there is to make a call on whether it's Ferrari or Red Bull as your second constructor. I know Mercedes, a lot of people have looked at as well, and I think they're an excellent option as well. They're not too much dearer than their Ferrari counterparts, but I think Ferrari were just a little off the pace in Mexico, and there's been quite a bit of coverage from Leclerc, from Binotto, that they'll be back to what they expect will be their best pace in Brazil. So I think with that 5 extra points on the streak, which we should see them convert, and then a couple million cheaper than Mercedes edges them for me for this weekend.
Okay. Let me see. I want to give you my team 1. If you had to make any major changes on team 1, right? Go ahead. Don't hold back. If you had to make any major changes.
I mean, I know how your mind works when it comes to fantasy.
Right, ignore that. I want to know what you would do.
My team 1 is looking like at the moment you've got Hamilton in there. I think he'll be in my team this week, potentially replacing Leclerc.
Okay.
Red Bull as the constructor is this is a non-streak team, a non-Max Verstappen Mega Driver team. For me, it would be Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez on his race streak, Carlos Sainz to Turbo Drive, and Red Bull constructor. And then I'm at the moment going with Norris and Alex Albon. That's who I've thought as my last two, because Norris, I think he's driven really well lately.
Yes.
He's on his 5 points for his race streak, and that's assuming he recovers from food poisoning, which was covered a little bit today. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because we've seen other drivers this season have illness and bounce back in time for Friday and Saturday. And then Albon, the reason I like him is because the Williams have a lot of straight line speed, and you can see in sectors 1 and 3 that Michael was reviewing earlier that it's mostly straights. There's not really a lot of turning, and I think that's going to work in favor of the Williams. So Albon's the other one. that I've got my eye on, assuming price rises work out overnight for me. And
Of course.
I'll tap in 0.1 or exactly on budget with that lineup. So that's where I'm going with. If you're going with a Max Verstappen team to Mega Drive, I think he's obvious. I think the other option there would probably be Ferrari for some of those team builds where you don't have a budget of, above 120, 125. And then in and around that, you'd probably need Perez on his race streak because that's invaluable. And then, so that's, Sainz, assuming with TD Sainz as well, Sainz, Verstappen, Perez, Ferrari is your constructor. And then depending on what your budget is, that's available for some of the teams with a higher budget, maybe Vettel and Alonso. For some of those teams where it's a bit less feasible, it could be an Alonso and say a Magnussen or an Albon, or it could be an Albon or a Magnussen. Any kind of two budgets under that 10 million mark would be fine, but the spread of points for anyone kind of priced under 8-9 million isn't significant, at least in those kind of points projections. So it really comes down a lot of it to luck and reliability, and some weeks those budget drivers pull off a 10 or 15 point haul. Other weeks they'll turn into -6 like Tsunoda had last week. So it's really luck of the draw when you're kind of at that bottom end of the scale. But I think that's going to be the general consensus for a max and a non-max team heading into this weekend. What do you guys think? Have you got any particular opinions on what you want in a team?
Are you going to, but in that same team you call out there, are you going to Mega Drive Lewis?
I've already used my Mega Driver, so
you did Japan. You went Japan.
I went Japan on Max.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't specify. So Max was my Mega Driver in Japan, and there was wet weather there, so that was a risk, which obviously paid off. Luckily, there's going to be a bit of rain, but I think he's still the outright favorite to win the sprint and Sunday. So if you've got it, put it on him. Don't think twice about it.
Yeah. Don't even think so. Michael, was so based on what Rob said there, Michael, what, last week, Michael, you finally brought in Max. He moved like people who don't have Haaland, Rob. He finally brought in Max. Like, some people still don't have Haaland on their team. He finally brought in Max. So how has that been going, Michael? And based on what Rob said here, talk to me.
So in Team 3, I brought in Max. He pulled 50 points, 49 points. On that team, I also had Lewis, who pulled 35. I had Sainz with the turbo drive, Alonso, Magnussen, and I had Alpine as the constructor. Alpine and Alonso is what hurt me the most in that team. That team pulled 157. But my second team, where I was playing around with it a bit, I had Mercedes as the constructor, pulled 73 points. I had, again, Sainz on turbo drive. I had Perez, Norris, Bottas, and Schumacher, and that team pulled 182. So to me, that shows that a better constructor might be the best way to go for these last few races. So I actually did some crunching of the numbers and that kind of thing. So I did that and did screenshots. So it's either I'm going to roll with a team with Verstappen, Bottas, Sainz, Albon, Magnussen with Mercedes as the constructor. So that way, regardless of what happens with Mercedes, I'll get their points. But also have Max on the team and put the Mega Drive on him. Or the second option would be to do something like Ricciardo, Hamilton, Sainz, Ocon, Magnussen with Red Bull as the constructor. And then Mega Drive on Lewis. I think I'll make the decision as to which team I go with after maybe free practice to get a kind of gauge and understand where the guys are on the track. But when I did some number crunching, it looks as though the team with Verstappen as Mega Drive would be the one that pays off the more dividends. So that's the way I might be leaning. So something like a Max on the team with Mercedes as the constructor, Sainz on turbo, and then full of the team.
Okay. Enough X for that.
And from the calculations, that should pull me somewhere around 280 points.
Oof. Wow, Rob. Wow, Rob. All right. You see, we have predictions and people putting out calculators and stuff. All right. I like it. Taking it serious, boy, Rob. Boy. I like that, Michael. Ishmael, hola, buenas noches. How you going? ¿Cómo estás? You know
Hola. Muy bien.
Talk to us quickly. What's your strategy and plan if you have time? If you get the chance to, what's your game week plan for Brazil?
Just remind me of something. Sprint this weekend?
Sprint. We have a
Yeah?
sprint this weekend. Yeah, we have a sprint this weekend. Qualifiers tomorrow.
Right. And remind me of one more thing. Could we use 2 items in the same weekend, or is it like FPL where we can't?
You mean you could turbo drive someone and mega drive them? Yes, you can, sir.
No, like we could Mega Drive as well as like do the free hit transfer things.
Yeah, you can use everything in one weekend if you want.
One grab.
Yeah. So that's my plan. That's my plan. I'll definitely be taking in. Remind me when I could do the final transfer. Is that before sprint or before qualifying?
You have 19
Before
hours.
the qualifying.
Yeah, before. So you have to do it literally by the qualifying tomorrow.
Right. Watch PD Mall tomorrow shopping, Jared.
Yeah.
Stop and take out Dalberg and just watch that qualifying results.
Do not get
And
it.
just tweak anything I need to tweak in those teams.
Yeah, remember, do not forget while in Albrook Mall, do not forget, sir.
Yeah.
Everything right, do not forget. Right?
Yeah.
I have not thought as hard as Michael because again, guys, you know my brain right now is hot with a lot of other things coming up. But I am going to double down and tackle the midfield drivers harder. So I'm gonna rearrange all. I have not touched these teams for the past 3 races, except maybe just 1 or 2 players. But I'm gonna go very hard on the mid. I might even take Max out of this same one, just as Rob was saying. I'll go Max for all 3. And I'm gonna go hard on the mid tier. Even maybe cheekily Mega Drive George Russell, because I can see a third-place podium from him. I don't think they're going to allow Perez to get a podium anymore for the rest of the season. They just did him a favor, so I'm not too sure about Perez anymore. Sainz, I definitely want to have Sainz. I might keep the turbo drive on Sainz on this particular team here. But I remove it from Stroll. But of course, based on the weather, I am tempted to keep it on Stroll. I'm
wondering if the Ferrari duo is worth, because I feel like yes, they might give you like 5th, 6th, somewhere around there. But are they potentials for the podium anymore? Like, is that realistic? Or are we going to just say, okay, well, between Red Bull, Mercedes, and some surprise they haven't covered, we're not going to see Ferrari on the podium anymore?
Rob, Michael, anybody want to take that? I mean, I don't know, boy. What Sainz offers you is a lot of overtaking points. And Leclerc, you get that. So I think that's what key and clutch here. But Rob, what do you think? Podium?
What Lewis offers you is his nationality. He's not Brazilian, right?
True, officially, it was official today. Yes, officially official today. Yeah. He finally got it.
He had to get a podium by rights.
By
rights.
He could get the second place. Right, he could definitely get that second place. We're joined by Antonio. So nice full house, Antonio. What's your plans with the strategies before you wrap up? What's your plan for this weekend? You know, you can sprint. It's a sprint weekend, so you can mega drive. Talk to me.
Yeah, I had already made changes to my team a while back. So, my mega driver is either between the Mercedes or Red Bull. I'm not going for Ferrari this game week. But in the game week, sorry, this race week. I do have one. I have Sainz. I had Sainz from the beginning. So turbo drive looking at the best bet. Although he did me some justice recently with the points, but I really in between constructor and who are gonna Mega Drive. Because I mean, there's a big hit in terms of the price difference. And I think because of how I made those changes, if I make any more changes now, it's gonna be like minus in points. So I might just stick with what I have. I mean, I'm kind of glad it's what I have.
Minus it, man.
Nah, negative.
I need to beat you.
Nah. But yeah, I think it's close to. I had a Russell as well, so I might Mega Drive Russell. Depending, really, and truly.
I think Russell is the best Mega Drive option. I think so. When Russell is
Nah, I don't feel so. I really don't feel so. But only because I have him already, that's why I would. If I could switch to Lewis with all the minus, I would definitely do that. But and beef up because I think it was cheaper than Russell. So I guess some more money to beef up on another racer, but I'm not gonna take that kind of money at this point of the season.
I think Lewis is still more expensive than Russell.
You sure?
So Russell is 23.1, Lewis is 22.2.
Oh, damn.
You break Michael hard there, boy. Oh, of course, boy. The better
tell you
driver more expensive. Well, the better driver always more expensive, you know. That makes sense. You know?
Yeah, of course.
And Rob, it makes sense. The better driver.
Yeah, it does. They changed all the prices, a few weeks ago now because Lewis was priced at 34 million and no one wanted him because of how expensive he was and how poorly he was driving. But now that they've adjusted all these prices down and up as needed, I think it's a more even playing field. And I think Lewis at 2022 something, he's a pretty good value pick, I would say, for at a circuit like Brazil. So. Yeah. I think he'll come into my team unless practice one tomorrow makes me change my mind.
So that was my next question before we sign off. So Rob, are you a deadline kind of guy?
I'm a deadline kind of guy, Jared. Yeah, I'm usually online and I'll usually like get into it on Twitter with whoever's around. So.
No, I know the answer, but I just want people because I normally see you when I see people message you on Twitter and like 5 minutes before just qualifying as qualified, and I see people always messaging you, so you're a deadline. But thankfully, this app doesn't crash, right?
Yeah, not like FPL, no.
Yeah. Right, no crashes on this at all. All right, I mean, I don't want to run away. I mean, I see you have a nice full panel, but I have something else, I have another engagement to run to soon, but I had to get this race going. But before we go, let's do some quick predictions now, top 3 predictions, real quick now. Let's start with Ishmael. Top 3 podium from third to first.
So I'll go with Ocon on third.
Wow, wild.
Because I just want to spice it up.
Yeah, of course. Spice it up, man.
Yeah. And quick question to the panel after I give you predictions, like outside of the top 3 constructors, which drivers you think could probably make podium this weekend? Right, so I'll go with Ocon outside of the top 3 constructors. Mm-hmm. I'll say Perez second and Lewis first.
All right.
You know how Jared does make this at the end of each FPL episode, he just pick these under like the teams that don't have the big hitters.
Yeah.
But it's a differential team. That's what that way does it.
Yeah, that's exactly
yeah. No, well, I don't want to say it here because we know what's happened when I say it.
Yeah, please do.
But you notice I didn't call a certain name, so that's all I had to say.
Yeah, I heard you. You will DNF in the first.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Antonio, what's your score? What's your podium predictions? Third to first.
Lewis Max Sainz.
Okay. That's some bias.
Third to first or first to third?
Third to first.
Man, call Lewis third, you know?
Nah, I call Lewis first actually.
Oh, you want Lewis first? Okay. That was it. Third to first. All right.
I give any passport, do I?
Ah, boy. Wow. Ha. Michael, third to first. What's your podium predictions?
I'm gonna go Sainz third. Max second, Lewis first.
Of course.
Where all this faith and Sainz coming from? Just because you turbo drive him, don't mean he go in.
Exactly.
Hey, the man has been consistent.
Consistently
going on the gravel.
He DNF in the race just before. and it's only this one he's been okay in. So I mean, but it's not his fault. It's not his fault, you know.
The
He did
Mercedes
get-
guy, the real do them justice.
Yeah, boy.
So you blaming the gravel now, boy, Jarrod, boy?
I didn't say that. I know somebody clip him. It's not his fault. And let's say he was driving stupid. Rob, top three.
I got third Perez,
Hmm.
second Verstappen, first Lewis.
Oh boy.
No, Rob. I didn't ask you what you wanted, you know. I asked you. What... all right. No, I mean,
If you
What?
want what I wanted, I would probably say first place Carlos Sainz as my turbo driver.
all right. I'm gonna be real. I'm going. All right. For me, honestly, third Russell, second Perez, first Max.
To see that happening.
Yeah, that's it there. Now, obviously, for the culture and for tradition and for the record and all that, we would like Lewis. Because let's be real, we wanted Perez to win last week. We want Lewis to win this weekend, and we want Vettel to win in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Am I
for
wrong?
sure.
I think that's what everybody would like. I think I can speak for the first time. I can speak on behalf of everyone in the world except Red Bull. That is what we want, right? That's what the people want.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? But we didn't get. But yeah, what was your question, Ishmael? Funny enough, Ishmael, I remember he said I did ask the panel that like because I think this will be the first season, maybe I don't want to say first, but the first
Only
one in a
Nano
long
Norris
time.
outside of the top three.
Yeah, no, not just podium, but winning. No one this year won. Like no one funny won, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if nobody made podium outside of Lando Norris,
far less.
then far less, yeah.
But
I mean,
everybody-
Daniel Ricciardo could give you something in Dubai.
I think to me, what the best person have a chance of get outside is either Norris or Ocon to get that podium. Norris or Ocon.
Is he? I feel like Fernando have it every week, and every week something does happen.
Yeah, well, it's not his fault, boy. He has been having a good season. It's just unfortunate, unlucky circumstances. I feel sorry for Alonso. Way.
I
Well, Rob-
honestly feel like when he move across next year, I feel like we'll get some good things.
We will see. Yeah, Rob, we'll close off with that question. Anybody on the you think have a good outside chance of at least getting third place, at least a third?
I think Norris. I really like Norris. He's probably my shout if we're talking outside the big three teams.
Yeah.
Even maybe I'd love to see Vettel up there as well. I'd love to see a podium for him before the end of the year. As
Correct.
unlikely as I think it will be, it'd be great to have a podium for him to send him off.
Yeah. When he was temporarily first, it wasn't last week, it was the week before, right? It was the week before, it was America. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, yeah, it was just nice. It was nice. It was a nice touch.
You know, be real amazing if we get Lewis first, Vettel second, and Alonso third. Or Danny Rick third.
Danny Rick, yeah.
Yeah.
We could dream. All right, I'm gonna sleep just now and take a dream.
And Latifi fourth. Yeah, well, I will definitely.
Latifi fastest lap.
No.
Oh,
Yes.
Hey. No, when you said Williams have good straight line speed, right? I have to admit to you, there, Rob, my ears were like, wait, what did he say there? Williams? You know, I was ready to, you know me. I like I have 3 teams. I can more than 2, but I will pick one of the teams. That's how I am. I think I will take a stab there. All right, well, we'll wind up. Any closing remarks, Michael? Anything before we go?
I mean, aside from come out to Island Bear Chill and Grill on Sunday at 2 p.m., bring your team, come get some good food, some drinks, and enjoy the vibes. Come and enjoy an amazing race. Watch Lewis Hamilton keep his streak alive, and just enjoy a great race with us.
Yeah. Rob, we have to invite you to the Caribbean at some point in time. You have to come through. You have places to stay. Everything. I know you have family, so it's tricky, but trust me, you have to bring everybody. We'll organize you, man. Just come down here with great food.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right? You can't come now, the weather's terrible. You have to come when it's nice and sunny. But right now, it's England weather we're getting right now. We have it is annoying. But yeah, Rob, any closing, any super duper advice, anything, metrics, anything at all before you go, Rob?
I'll keep it simple. If you've got your Mega Driver handy, to use it on Verstappen and use your wildcard as well if you haven't used that yet either.
Yeah,
So many people still haven't activated those. So Just get rid of them.
Yeah, throw the kitchen sink at this series. I agree. Antonio, what's the ultimate advice? Anything at all?
I mean,
If you want to tell Michael you're not winning anything and you have to buy the bottles, is there anything at all
no,
that
but
you wanna?
this honestly, this week here is like there's like that difference maker in the season, to be honest. But yeah, anybody who playing, make sure you use a Mega Driver this week because sprints is like the extra points, so yeah, definitely getting a lot of points. I mean, if you're Mega Driver minus points, that would be charging.
Well,
Imagine-
it's a certain driver DNF, you know.
Yeah, imagine
Nothing.
you Mega Drive Max and turn 1 into 2. Oh no, the heady pressure in the camp.
I might
Carlos
tell you
Sainz
something about
turns into Max Verstappen. All right, let me stop.
If you do that there, sir, I am coming by you with a knife and I want the lotto numbers immediately pronto.
Oh,
Check me
God.
now, Albert Park. We go link.
No problem.
All right, well, and Ishmael, anything closing words, anything at all?
Yes.
advice?
Make
Talk to me.
sure. Most importantly, make sure you know the time, the deadline, because you may be in a next country and you may not be looking at the correct time. Make sure you know the deadline.
That sounds
We'll
personal.
make
though.
them changes tonight because
That
we'll
sound
just get
personal.
hectic.
Remember, you 3 hours behind there, Ishmael. That's sound personal, you know. You are 3 hours behind right now, so that's so real personal.
No, I just have to remind myself, don't worry.
Yeah, don't
But yeah,
forget.
deadline. Most importantly, deadline.
Well, all right. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming through. Don't forget, guys, we are here for Fantasy Sport. We're doing a lot. So we have World Cup cricket show Saturday coming up because Cricket World Cup is coming to a close. FIFA World
Let's go
Cup
Pakistan.
show, right on the 20. Well, our World Cup show will start possibly tomorrow or Sunday, but we have some fun stuff coming up, some fun content for World Cup. Don't forget, of course, FPL the last this weekend before the World Cup, so you can check out our show. We have some clips all about social media with some good captain picks. Sorry, not metric, but picks. So anything and everything right here on the Fantasy Pavilion. And of course, do not forget to check the F1 Fantasy Hub. Right, Rob runs our channel. I will put his in the description. Friendly guy, awesome. He does not snap at you. He will answer all the questions. You can send him 20 questions a minute before the deadline. He will answer all. Right, and always putting up always tweeting some poignant and vital information, which always encourages me. He does not know this, but indirectly always encourages me to go for the low guys that I do, and they always do well. So I want to thank Rob for that, of course, because he always breaks on price changes, everything for you guys. So anything for F1, and we want to try and help him grow and be the main source for next season and all the seasons to come. All right, and especially with some of the new tracks being instated next season, it'll be very interesting.
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
Right, exactly. So we have, and of course, we have a few more in 2024, and then we have some new constructors joining us as well very soon as well. So we a lot to follow and add to your repertoire, and of course,
Yeah, and don't forget, we'll be covering you all live in the Grand Prix at some point soon too.
That's it, right? All that true, yeah, very true, right? So I want to thank everyone. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You're on 801 subscribers, trying to make 1,000, guys. We need your help. Please take your mom's phone, take dad's phone, just subscribe. It's free. They don't need to know, right? I appreciate you guys, and take care. Happy picking. May your turbo driver finish second and then Mega Driver finish